This bootcamp spends a lot of time on project delivery. The reason for this is that as a consultant, it's the core part of the business and where you'll be spending a majority of your time. If you actually break down where consultants spend their time, when things are going well, you'll be allocating approximately 90% of your time to billable projects, with the remaining 10% to essentially everything else. Many consulting firms actually tie performance reviews to billable hours that align pretty close to these percentages. So with that in mind, let's jump into what project delivery looks like. Every firm will have its own process for project execution, but they will generally follow these stages. Number one is initiation. This is the connecting point between delivery and sales. In the final stages of selling a new deal, there are details of the project scope that are outlined and defined that eventually become contractual obligations in a statement of work of what must be delivered. Now, as sales get to the point of SOW signature, the project preparations kick into high gear. This is mobilizing and onboarding the project team, setting expectations internally and externally with the client's sponsor and leadership. From there, it's best practice to schedule and run a kickoff with the client. This sets the tone and gets everyone involved on the same page. From a schedule perspective, this will also officially mark the beginning of the execution stage of the project and the project plan start. Throughout execution, consultants will use their best practices and processes to manage work, measure progress, and control risks as best as possible. Now, by the end of the scheduled work, the deliverables and the scope of work should be complete. At this point, it's conducting a thorough transition to the client and ensuring proper closeout activities are done before ramping down the project team. Now, in the toolkit, we have a short guide that provides additional details on each of these activities that you can check out. What I want to do now is spend some time talking about deliverables management. This is one of the most important aspects of project delivery, as it's what the client is essentially paying for and what we're contractually obligated to deliver on projects. One of the most jarring aspects of consulting for new consultants and people transitioning from industry is how much work goes into building and reviewing a deliverable that goes to the client. These could be deliverables as simple as a set of test cases to a full strategy deck. Now let's take a look at an example of what a review timeline could look like. In this scenario, we've got a 2-week time frame to get a set of work done. So work is officially assigned to us on a Monday. The expectation is that you begin working on this pretty much immediately, and that there are 2 short checkpoints that you'll be having with either a senior consultant, possibly a manager, prior to an official managerial review on Friday. Now, the expectation is that by Friday, which is about a week before the deliverable is due with the client, that when you're presenting to the manager of the project, the deliverable is about 90% complete. Based on the feedback from the manager, there is a follow-up checkpoint on Monday, and final prep is done to essentially get ready for a partner review that is done on a Tuesday. Now, the partner review is more strategic in nature, and it's really a stress test of not just the content on the slide, but everything that's not on the slide as well. Now, these are going to be your talking points and potential questions the client may ask when we present the deliverable. We've scheduled a 2-day cushion to refine the deliverable based on the partner review and finally deliver to the client on Thursday. We've included an additional video that does a step-by-step walkthrough of the work done to build what a draft deliverable could look like by the first checkpoint. Now, this will give you a good example of what preparation is needed before you step into those checkpoints. This review process is essentially how consulting firms conduct quality control on their deliverables. One way to better understand the why behind this is to illustrate the development path from an emerging consultant to partner. This was illustrated to me when I was a junior consultant. The partner sat me down and drew an hourglass on a napkin and explained my development this way. When you first start, you're at the bottom of the hourglass. You're an inexperienced generalist, and we're going to assign you a wide-ranging breadth of work so you can get exposure to a lot of different tasks, clients, and projects. Your goal is to successfully deliver whatever we assign you and to start finding something to specialize in. This is building a domain expertise that we can actually rely on you to be the expert. And this is how you eventually make manager. So as a manager, you're able to lead projects and review the work being done because you have the experience and expertise to know when something isn't hitting the mark or when things are slipping. Now, to make the turn from manager to partner, You need to expand back out of your specialization. We'll begin assigning you projects that are tangential to your specialization, so you'll have to learn quickly, rely on your leadership capabilities, and figure out how to deliver with the team that you have. Over time, the accumulation of projects starts compounding, and your contributions will start becoming more strategic in nature. And this is because you synthesize all the knowledge and experience from your wide-ranging portfolio of work. At this point in your career, your experience and network will allow you to represent our company, our consulting firm, at the highest levels and develop the trust needed to sell new clients. So you start at the bottom, where you focus on delivery experience and building domain expertise, making your way to manager. From there, you broaden back out to a point where you focus mostly on strategy and sales as a partner. Going back to the deliverables review timeline, you can get a better understanding of the manager review versus the partner review. The manager should have a level of specialization to be able to catch any initial errors or gaps in the deliverable. The partner is there to bring in their portfolio of experience and make sure that what we've built is aligned from a strategic perspective. We've provided some additional content below that provides some guidance on how to start developing that domain expertise and a visualization of how your accumulated experience eventually leads to that strategic mindset that's backed up by a portfolio of work in your career.